Hi everyone, and welcome back to the virtual allotment, your virtual allotment. So this week, done quite a bit. We've had a bit of rain, and as everyone knows, the nights are drawing in. So when I finish work at 4:30, I'm only getting about an hour afterwards. So very limited as to what I can do, except for weekends. I've dug over some of the beds, another bed. We've done a bit more in the shed, and today we're going to go and have a look at the fig tree and show you the fruits trees that we're going to bring down from my other plot. Okay, so let's have a look at what we've done. Okay, so let's start off with the shed. So as you can see, it's now been painted or stained, making it look a bit nicer. A little bit of a step there. And then inside, I've put in some kitchen units which I got for free, and some worktop. So I'm going to cut a hole in the worktop here for the basin to go in. Then the tap from outside will be just behind there. That'll cover it up for the coffees, for the essentials. Double burner and gas bottle below there. That's almost empty, so I'll have to renew that. Essentials. And then I can store some stuff in there from out of the polytunnel. And then just in the corners, just lots of trays and stuff. Seed board, I still need to bring some more drawing pins and I can put the rest of my seeds up. And then I've just done this today, just a little bench for when other people come and have a drink. And so it's not in the way, it just lids up and it just folds down. So it needs a bit of coat of paint, but it's okay. And then also I've fitted the solar panel which I had on my other shed. Very simple. There's a wire here that goes outside to the solar panel, comes into a little Scotch block, and then just a in out all the way down, and then from each of this is like an extension cable, and then from that you do the blue to the blue, brown to brown, and this one goes to the lights. And as you can see, it's very bright. Just 500 LED lights. $2.99 from eBay. Come from China. Took a while to get here originally whenever I got them. These were all up in my other shed before. But as you can see, I've put jars up with my things in, shelving unit at the end, and then shelves from that shelving unit along. Still loads of space. And what I will do is I'll put some more shelves or a shelving unit on this back wall, and just to show you how much light it does give you, that's without and then with. Nice and easy. And that's run, let's put that back on, from, I've got a big battery there which it isn't running from that one, that's a spare. It's just running from that little battery which is a mobility cart battery. So what happens is that cable goes to the bottom, Scotch block, and the solar panel goes all the way down and then charges the battery up. You don't get much charge in winter because there's not a lot of light, so we just turn that off when we don't need it. Another little cupboard there, not decided whether I'm keeping that one yet. So the shed is coming on. I'm going to paint it white inside, just to emulsion paint just to brighten it up a little bit more. And then outside, as you can see, this is one bed, and I've put the paths in now. Still need to get the weed suppressant membrane, and then I can put the wood chip down. We're getting that this week. And then I've done the second bed, and then the path, and then I've started on the third bed. But as you can see, still what I've done is I've cultivated it, and you can see here is where I've raked it all off. So that's it cultivated, and then I need to do it again, just take the little bits that I've missed, and then to rotivate it or till it. So that's still got to be done. The reason I stopped was I ran out of petrol, and it did start to rain as well. As you can see, now I've got 3 beds in. I can put a couple of trees in that space there. I can put my charity bed at the end there, and then I'll put some more of this path, I'll put some more of that over there so that I've got a walkway, and then I'll put one down there. Vast difference in the soils in that bed, really fine. Let's go and have a look at that. Really fine soil, as you can see. Lovely soft soil, and as you go up it gets quite cloggy. It took a lot to break that one down. And then the second bed, you can probably see loads of stones in it. I think he probably put them in for drainage, but the full bed is like that. Again, it's lighter soil at the bottom, but it's still full of stones. And then this bed, the final bed, has got some stones in it, as you can see, but not as much. So it's a mixture of both beds, that one. The big concrete slab has gone. I've brought that up. So my back is certainly feeling that one being moved. And then the view from up here. And if you refer to the original diagrams or original plan on the first video, those are the 3 beds that I drew. We were originally going to have the charity bed over there, but as I mentioned earlier, that's the best position for the polytunnels. Okay, so the polytunnel here is almost empty. You can probably see in there from outside. Moving some of that stuff back inside the shed now. You can probably see, oops, a bit wobbly there, on top of the shed. There is the solar panel, just a little one. I am getting a bigger one, but that was fine for the little shed that I used to have. And then that shed will be moving this week. That will be going down at the bottom here. As you can see, that big hole that we did have, because I've been doing the beds, this is all the stuff that's come off the beds, and as you can see, it's almost up to the right height now. I think once I've finished the beds, I'll put that weed suppressant membrane on, and then I'll put the shed down there. This will obviously move, and I'll go over one of these beds. So let's go and have a look at plot 7. My old plot, or one of my old plots. I had plot 7 and 8. This is plot 2. I gave up plot 8 so that I could take this one on, but I've still got plot 7 at the moment, which is my fruit plot. So let's go and have a look at that. So this is plot 7, and plot 7 has got this fruit cage on, which I've given to one of the neighbours because I don't need that now. And then in there, oops, this fruit cage is just made from an old trampoline, and needs weeding desperately, this, but you can probably see amongst all the weeds, I've been spending so much time doing my other plot, I've neglected this a little bit. I can do this next weekend. So as you can see, lots of strawberry plants in there. So all those strawberry plants will be going down onto the virtual allotment, and we've got some raspberry canes. Strawberry plants, still got some strawberries on. Strawberries, I keep calling them strawberries. Tomatoes on. And then all that's left on here is the fruit trees. So all these fruit trees will be going down onto the virtual allotment. So we've got plum tree. Step back a little bit and then you'll be able to see them. So we've got plum tree here, another plum tree, a cherry, a pear, which is a Williams pear. So I've got a Williams pear already on the virtual allotment, and then this one is a 7-year-old plum tree, which was given to me by another allotment here, Lee. And then this one, I'm not sure whether I'm going to take this one. This is a cherry, but it doesn't seem to have done much this year. I'll come back to that one in a moment. This is an apple. So that one will be going. And then this is an apple, but this one, like the cherry, didn't seem to do much. This one, that one, and that one were all from Pound Stretcher, $2.99 each. So I thought, well, it's worth it just giving it a go, see if they work. And I've got 2 out of 4, so it's not too bad. So we've got 1 plum, 2 plums, 3 plums to move, a pear tree, a cherry tree, an apple, and then the fig. Now anybody who watched Gardener's World this week will have seen Monty Don, oh sorry, last week, will have seen Monty Don saying any of the figs that are bigger than a pea, just take off. The leaves are falling off anyway, so I'm just going to take them off, and you can see there, just on this little bud, that one there where my finger is, that's the fruit for next year. Now if we take off anything bigger than that, like that, just give them a twist. So any of those, they're not ready for eating, and we can put those on the compost. But you can see some have already fallen down the bottom of here. So this fig tree will be being moved as well, and you can see there the type of fig. It's a brown turkey. So yes, oh, they're almost just a little bit bigger than that when they're fully grown. So I'm going to do a little bit at the end of the video about figs, something that I found out recently. Can you see the little hole at the bottom there? Well, a fig doesn't flower. Well, it does flower, but it flowers internally, so it actually flowers inside the fruit. And the little hole at the bottom there is so that it can be is called a fig wasp, and the fig wasp is the size of the eye of a needle. I'll put all this information up at the end, but it's the size of the eye of a needle, so really, really tiny, and it crawls up through that tiny little hole into the middle of the fruit, lays its eggs, and while it goes up there it gets the pollen from the inside of the fruit, and then comes out, flies away, and then it's got 2 days to find another fig, otherwise it dies. And while it goes and finds another fig, it pollinates. So very unusual. I don't know why the flower's on the inside and not the outside. You just get the leaves on the outside. And when you split a fig open, and I'll show you some pictures of inside of a fig, you can probably see it does look like a flower. So yeah, it's interesting. So I'll put details of that on at the end. Okay, and that's it. I'll speak to you in a moment. Okay, also on the plot is my herb garden, which is really just a mint garden. These are all planted this year, just tiny little mint plants, and they grow massive. My favourite is this one, which is a peppermint chocolate mint, and you just pull a couple of leaves off like that, and then put them, just bruise them a little bit, and then put them in some boiling water, and it makes a chocolatey mint tea. It's very refreshing. So all that will go down onto the virtual allotment as well. But I've got this plot for a year. I've paid for it for this year, until that plot at the side of mine is sorted out. So what I'm going to do is I'll move all the trees in the next couple of weeks, and the rhubarb, sorry, and the strawberries. I say rhubarb because I've got some rhubarb here as well. Now this rhubarb needs cutting off. Let's get my knife out. Find my knife. There it is. So the rhubarb leaves need cutting off. You should really just pull them, but they do. Right, so I don't need to cut them off. As you can see, you just pull off. They're too small to eat, but here we go. Just pull them all out, and there we go. So all this, so all that dirt there, that soil, has got rhubarb plants in it. So those rhubarb plants will be moved down to the virtual allotment, as well as the strawberries. And then what I'll do is I'll take all this weed suppressant up, and I'll rotivate all this, and then cover it for winter. But this bed here, I may plant some other vegetables, I'm not sure yet, but my plan really is just to cover it and not use it this year. And where this grass is, I'll cultivate that and then rotivate it, and then it's ready for the next person to take over when I do give it back. So just pop this into the compost bin. So this plot was mine before. This was plot 8, and this is as I left it for the next person. All dug over, ready for them. So what we'll do is walk down now through the plot, and we'll have a quick look as to what everybody else is doing. So this is plot 7, as I've said, here's plot 6. I don't think his corn is going to be doing much now. There's not enough sunlight for anything really to grow. That's plot 6. This is plot 5. This person's been on for about 4 years now. And what they've done, just walk down the path in the middle. What they've done this year is they've put this wood all the way along and they've measured it out so that it is 3 times the length of that cage. And what they'll do next year is where the wood is at the bottom there, they'll move, the back of the cage will be there and the front of the cage should be about somewhere there, and then they'll crop rotate. As you can see, we've got the horse manure ready for putting on. Lots of celery still up there. And then next to that is plot 3, which is Barry and Lorraine's. And Barry and Lorraine started the same time as me last year, so they've been on a year. And this year they've learned a lot, and they're going to have the big fruit cage. That's going to go somewhere over here, and they're going to extend this fruit cage that they made. They've done really well actually. They've just about to see they've got some grapes there. They did have quite a bit on there and they've taken those off, but everything's dying off now. So they're going to extend that fruit cage out to about where that stone is. Make more use, make a narrower path in the middle there. So they'll probably gain another 3 foot of a plot. And then this is number 3, this is Aaron's, and Aaron has closed down for winter. Covered up all his beds. He's only got 4 beds. His plot goes right back to the bottom, but he hasn't got time to do all of it, so he just works his 4 beds. He's got his leeks and his purple sprouting broccoli in there. And then we come down to the virtual allotment, and I forgot to mention I've put a gate on. The gate that I said I'd put on before. I've managed to put that on. What I want to do this week is start planting something in here, and we're going to put some onions. In fact, I can do the commentary now. We'll put some onions in here and some garlic. Now, my original idea of 3 beds was to do crop rotation. But the problem with the onions is some of the onions you plant now and are not ready till next August. And that means tying that bed up. So what I'm going to do is I'm still going to do crop rotation, but I'm going to split each bed up into 3. So I'll put a board or something across so that it's split into 3. And then if something like the onions are tying that other's bed up, then what I'll do is I can then use one of these for others, or one of those for others. So I'll still have the same size, 3 long beds, but it'll be split up into 3. So if you can imagine where that piece of wood is, across there, and then the same on that one, and then the same on that one. So each bed's around 7 foot, and the reason, which I've not mentioned before, the reason that it is 7 foot is because when I get down and I reach, you can see there where I make the mark, and I go around the other side and I reach, that's the centre So I can reach 3.5 foot either side, so it's a 7-foot width. You don't want beds too wide, then you're having to stand on the bed to get to the middle. And you don't want them too long, because otherwise you're tempted to run across the bed and not walk round it. So I think they're about right size, these. They're, I think it's 26 foot by 7 foot. So, coming back to this bed, I'll put on at the end a list of onions and garlic, and I want you to choose which onions to put in. And obviously, as I've said before, this is your allotment, so I want you to take part and to choose which onions to put into this soil. It's neutral soil, so there are red onions, white onions and brown onions, and there are 2 garlics that I'll put up. Top of my head I can't remember what they are. One of them will be Isle of Wight garlic, because we're on the Isle of Wight. And I think we'll probably put some broad beans in as well. So if you can, after I've put that on, if you put the comments below, tell me which you would prefer me to plant, and then I'll plant those this week or next weekend. Alright, so that's it for today. Thank you for watching, and thank you for subscribing, and for the people who comment, in particular Nora and Bob, who comment every week, and it is appreciated. So thank you again, yes, and I will see you next week. Bye for now. So this is a small fig that you would normally buy, but they can grow over 18 foot high. This is fruit off my tree. As you can see, sort of flower shape in the middle. And this is the fig wasp, smaller than the eye of a needle. And as you can see there, it's climbed in at the bottom. And this is what it does. The male fig wasp bores a hole from the outside so that the females can escape, and then they have 2 days to find another fig before they die. Here's your chance to have your input into your virtual allotment. Let's choose the onions. I've got Shakespeare, darker brown skin, white flesh, harvest June. Radar, delicious mild flavour, harvest May. Silver Moon, which is a white onion, harvest August. And Electric, which is a red onion, pink tinged flesh, harvest July. Now let's choose the garlic. Put your comments below for both. Garpec, which is a large white bulb, purple striped casing, intense flavour and aroma, harvest June. And Sultop, which is red and white striped bulbs, harvest from June. Choice is yours.